Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CPA Moms Podcast. I'm Nicole, your host and the brand ambassador of CPA Moms, where we believe that real success is only meaningful if it holds up in every area of your life, what we call the 4 F's: financial, firm or career, family, and fitness. If one area is lacking, the rest lose their meaning. You can have a thriving career, but if your health is falling apart, it doesn't really feel like success. And you can have all the money, but if your family life is strained, then the joy disappears. Today, I am so excited to have Amie Clark with me. Amie is a CPA with over 13 years of experience in accounting and some tax, and she is currently the accounting controller at Kentucky Gun Co., which means that she's the one behind the scenes making sure that everything runs smoothly, from financial reporting to process improvement to keeping the team on track. What I love most about Amie's story is that she is not just a professional powerhouse, she is also a mom who has learned how to survive full-time work and real life in a way that is honest, grounded, and inspiring. I can't wait to dive in and talk about what that really looks like to you, Amie. So glad you're here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, if you could just start us off a little bit about your career path, what led you to accounting, and then what you've gone through along the way.
Yeah. So I guess when I was looking for a field, of study, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And I currently had worked for my family business at Vidito Cabinets. And so they ended up shifting me into their AP department. And through that, I decided that I wanted to go into accounting. So I started going to school for accounting. Worked on my associates, which I wasn't very serious about. I was just kind of taking classes for a very long period of time. And then after I finally finished my associates, I was like, I need to get through this. So I started on my bachelor's at Sullivan University and then progressed to my master's and with a focusing on my CPA. So I was able to do that through my master's program. But I think just working for the family business and working in part of those departments and getting interested with processes and seeing where things maybe weren't flowing as smoothly as they could or more efficiently and being able to fix things. I really enjoyed being able to see problems and fix them. And accounting is an area where you can do that. You can fix people's mistakes and you can fix processes and make things better and feel like you've accomplished something. So that was a good feeling for me, and I liked it. So
Yeah, I love that you came to accounting in a very authentic, real way, a real life experience, because I think a lot of us just kind of stick our finger in the air, see which way the wind is blowing, and it's like, okay, well, sure, I like numbers, let's go to college. And but you never really know until you get out into the real world if you're gonna love it or hate it.
yeah, I think I thought that accounting was math, which it is, but once I started studying accounting, I'm like, it's really more debits and credits, less
Yeah.
of math, and more of presentation and where things go and how they're presented. And so I was surprised when I learned that math wasn't as essential to being a good accountant. So
Yeah,
it's
and I
such a
mean, we have,
powerful tool.
yeah, we have calculators now. Like, who really
Right.
needs to know math anymore?
Right.
In softwares, Excel, it does all that for us.
Right.
So you have worked in both public and corporate settings.
I
What
have.
are some of the biggest differences that you've noticed?
So the reason I went from public to a corporate setting was being able to focus on one company and learn the company well. So in public accounting, you're working with a lot of clients and you're trying to keep track of remembering all the details of these businesses, and they call you and they're like, "Hey, this is going on." And I'm like, "Oh, give me a minute to pull up your books because I don't remember any of this. So that was honestly what drove me to want to go to corporate. Was I wanted to be able to learn a company from the inside out and be able to really focus on that company. So that's why I made the transition. And I decided to make it to a company that actually someone that was living with us at the time worked there. And he had told me about this company that was growing. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna go talk to him. So I showed up at the business at like 7:30 in the morning before I was going to my job and handed him my resume. And I ended up getting hired later. I was actually pregnant at the time. And so he wanted to bring me on to start their payroll in house. And they had about 150 employees at the time. And so I started in November. He wanted to bring it live in January, the new calendar year. And I was due December 27th. And and um the current she was kind of the accounting manager, or the office manager. She went to him and was like, are you sure this is a good idea? Like, she's gonna have a baby. Like, what if she doesn't come back? And he was like, then we'll just keep doing it the way we've been doing it. We're not out anything. He was very brave. He wasn't scared of anything. And so I came in and actually had Sadie, my oldest, 3.5 weeks early. So I had her in early December, and I was back to work within like 2 weeks on and off, which he let me just come in when I want and go when I want for as long as I wanted. So I was able to bring them live on their payroll on January 1st.
Nice. And look at that initiative. There's so much initiative in that entire story. Like, you just showed up at 7:30, like, hey, I'm the girl for you. That's
Was
awesome.
confident at the time, no doubt.
Yes. Well, and I would say that is something that has served you well in
Yes,
your
I would say.
career, I would think.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would say so. I'd say, it was, I wasn't ever afraid to try different things as well, like with processes and stuff, or testing, softwares. Whereas, I feel like now I'm a little bit more cautious. Whereas before, I'm like, let's just push the button. Let's see what happens.
Which is interesting because that's not necessarily what you think of when you think accountants. Like, they're just itching for change and new stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think learning new things is fun. I think it's, the challenge is what makes the job interesting. So when the challenge goes away, the job isn't as interesting. It becomes, kind of monotonous and boring. So learning new things being, thrown on you is kind of it's a good, healthy way to keep you interested in your line of work.
Yeah.
So that's always been good where I was, because it was always something. So it was never a dull moment.
Yeah. Well, and how nice that your first kid and you had somebody that, I mean, you had a short maternity leave. It sounds like two 2 weeks, and then you were back in working, but it sounded like he was okay with, and the flexibility of you kind of coming in when you could and being able to run the payroll, but then being able to go home and be with your daughter, which
Absolutely.
makes
Yeah.
a nice transition.
It was. And, I could have taken off, the full 6 weeks and not come back, but I was I was very eager, and very, ready. I was very career driven. And so my work was very important to me, and I loved it. It was fulfilling. So I liked being able to, come to work and do work, and then have the flexibility to be able to, hey, I need to be home as well. And it was definitely, he worked very well with me on that for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, they were adapting a new thing, so
Right.
if not, they were kind of stuck, right?
Right.
So, looking at your current role now as a controller, what do you love most about that role?
Well, I mean, it's an high overview. So I've always liked being able to improve processes. I feel like that's an area where I'm able to see where, there's things that aren't flowing correctly. And in order to make the whole thing work, we need to fix these areas. So I think with a controller, that is a big part of your role is being able to improve processes and develop procedures and put things in place so that there are checks and balances. Things aren't getting missed, things aren't getting overlooked. If you do make a mistake, because we do make mistakes, we have ways to be able to catch our mistakes because we've put checks and balances in place. So I would say that's probably my favorite part of being a controller, is just being able to develop new processes and train people as well. When I, at the tail end of being at QSI, I was able to train people to be able to handle what I was leaving them in charge of, and being able to challenge them and ask them, well, this is what I do, but why do I do it? Like, it's not just doing the process, it's why are you doing it, and why is it important that you do it? And then if it breaks, how do you fix it? Like, how do you redevelop what broke? And that was fun. I mean, honestly, it was fun watching people learn and grow and develop into new levels themselves that years before they wouldn't have been able to do. And so that was a really fun part. I would, as well as it was training other people up.
Hmm. Yeah, I think what you just talked about is a very amazing skill to have. I think, in my experience, is somewhat of a unique skill to have, but where it's not just following the steps. Oh, well, they trained me to do this and then this and then this and this,
Right.
but to be able to just understand what is the end result.
Hmm.
If you can understand that, or what is the why,
Hmm.
then you can figure out what are the steps that you need to take to get there.
Right. Yeah.
For sure.
I agree. It's very important, and I think when people start thinking that way and getting themselves to think that way, not just this is my job, I
Right.
just do this because that's what they told me to do. When they start thinking about what they're doing and why they are doing it, I think that it helps them to be better employees and to bring things to you as well that they would have never brought to you before because they didn't even understand why they were doing it.
Right.
So I think it's important.
For sure. Yeah, I think if they don't have that, they bring stuff to you too, but it's the, well, I did these 5 steps and it didn't work the way it was supposed to, so now what do I do? It's like,
Right.
no, like think through. Why
Yeah,
are you
right.
doing that? You can
Right.
figure this out.
Yeah, right. Yep.
All right, so let's shift focus a little bit. As a working mom in a demanding role, what does a typical work week look like for you?
Well, mornings are busy because you're herding all your children to get ready for school and out the door, so that's always fun. Mornings are fun. But my kids are now to a great age where they're able to help a lot. So in the earlier years, when they weren't able to help it with anything, it was more challenging because I was taking care of getting me ready and getting 2 toddlers ready and getting lunches ready and getting out the door. Having their help is like fantastic. So honestly, training them to be helpful, and to help each other helps me, and be a better mom because, I'm not as irritable because we're all pitching in, we're all helping together. So mornings are busy. But it's for me, my schedule, it's 8 to 5 or 8:30 to 5:30. So I have some flexibility on my schedule, which helps because when you have those mornings where it's hard getting out the door, then I have flexibility that, okay, I showed up at 8:20, but I'll just, I can stay a little bit later or work through a lunch or, whatever. So, normal schedule, as far as kind of the 8 to 5, but we still have all the things, in the evenings. We still have life that happens. We still have soccer. We still have, other activities in the winter, and throughout the beginning of the year. So there's a lot of activities. We're very involved with our church as well. So we try to be engaged in a lot of things. And sometimes there are times where it's like, you know what, we have to take a day off. We're going to have to take a break from this just so we can regroup. And sometimes that's needed. I mean, sometimes you need to just, I have to shut a couple things down just so that we can rest, so that we can regroup. And I think that overall, we stay very busy, but it's always good when soccer season ends because we get a little break. We get to have a season of break, but it is busy for sure.
Yeah. So how do you balance the needs of your family with the responsibilities of the job?
Well, having a support system.
Mhm.
So, having people that I am able to rely on to assist me. I have wonderful in laws that are always there for me. They help, get my children picked up from school every single day. They bring them home. If need be, they'll run them to a soccer practice or an event. So having support from other people for me has been a blessing. I can't thank them enough for all that they do. And my husband also helps with things. So if I'm not able to, having a partner that helps me is helpful as well. But it's just, not overloading yourself too. So we don't pick more than one sport at a time. So making sure that we don't put too much on our plates to where we feel like we're getting pulled too much. So we stick with one sport. There's never more than one sport in a season. And then we will rotate those sports, but it's just one at a time because it's hard to manage multiple sports on top of household things, on top of food and work and church. So we just stick with one. And I think if we did more than one, we would struggle.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, you didn't say the words, but we talk about it a lot here, setting boundaries, right? So
mhm.
that's one of your boundaries. Are there other boundaries that you have in place that really help make your work and home life kind of flow together better?
Well, as far as keeping our house just put together, because if my house isn't put together, it becomes a little more stressful. So, one of the things that, this is still a work in progress. We have not succeeded yet, but, just the girls learning, hey, when you come in, put your things where they go. Make sure you put your
Mhm.
backpacks where they go and put your shoes where they go. And, if you had a snack, let's toss this, the trash away or put the plate in the sink or the dishwasher. And they have weeks where they do great. They do fantastic, and then they have weeks that they don't do so great. So, but honestly, just trying to keep things going as you go helps
Mhm.
things run smoothly. When I let things stack up, it gets more challenging and more difficult to balance. So I think just trying to stay on top of things and not letting them get over your head makes a big difference in our home.
Yeah. So if you get to the point where you guys have perfected that, where they just come in and do all the things they're supposed to and put all the stuff away, let me know how you did that. Because that
Okay.
is a work in progress here
I
always.
will say, Alyssa did her own load of laundry last week. She washed
Woo!
it, she dried it, and she put it away. I was blown away. I was like, I didn't even ask you to do
On
this.
her own?
On
What?
her own, on her own. Yes, she did. I was like, wow. But she did bring her laundry basket down today. But her grandmother they gave her this coupon book for Christmas last year. And the girls were like, we haven't used these coupons. And I was what? We'll look through it. You can use a coupon. And Alyssa was like, I'm using the no chores one. I was like, so I guess I get to do the load of laundry today. I was like, okay.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I don't know if I've shared this story with you, but it changed my life when I had the boys start cleaning their own bathroom.
Oh, yes.
Like it had not crossed my mind that it could be something they could do. And I was at a friend's house helping her get ready for her daughter's birthday party. And she said, "Hey, go clean your bathroom." And I was like, because I mean, this was probably 2 years ago. They
Yeah.
were 7 and 9, so 7 and 5. And I was like, "You can do that? Like, you can have your kids clean their own bathroom?" She's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Okay, I
What part
initiate."
do you mean? Do you mean just like picking up the bathroom or like
Oh
cleaning
no,
the toilet, cleaning
cleaning the toilet, the
cleaning it
sink,
all?
everything. I
Yeah.
implemented that one right away and it was life changing. And will say I have boys. That bathroom stays much cleaner now that they're the ones that have to clean it.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So I had told my girls, I'm like, when I was a kid, the bathrooms that was my responsibility. Like I had to clean the bathrooms every single time. And honestly, I liked it because you could kind of get through cleaning a bathroom pretty decent time if you like
Yeah.
really do it, you know? So I'd never mind at all. I'm like, y'all are gonna have to start doing this. And they have cleaned it, I would say a couple times, but I've never been like, it's your job to always clean it. It is their job to always dump the trash, but I still have to tell them to dump the trash. But
Nope, it's on their chore list. It is theirs.
yeah, that's awesome.
I'm not doing it. What helps you stay organized? Do you have any like tools or apps or anything that really help you stay
Yeah.
organized?
Unfortunately, I am not the person that's organized. So my sister and I were talking about this the other day. She was like, "We are so type B." I was like, "I always thought I was type A." She was like, "You're not. You're type B." So no, I used my calendar. And
Well, there you
honestly, I
go.
forget to put a lot of things on it, just like this Zoom meeting, like it wasn't on there.
Oh, that's
But yeah,
hilarious.
I do try to like look at my events, at some point in the week for the rest of the week, so I at least know what's going on and can kind of like, hey, I need to make sure you get here and you get here and we do this.
Yeah.
But as far as like with the house, no, I don't use apps, which my girls don't use devices. I use an iPhone. My husband uses an Android. And so sometimes apps don't
Mhm.
merge with those things. So,
Yeah.
I don't plan on my kids using devices for like quite a while. So I'm hoping that as a family, we won't need a merged app.
Yeah.
But as far as like being organized, you know, I, I'm not the best at that. That's not my strong suit.
Yeah, I tell my kids 18 when they can have their own phone.
Yeah,
Not loving that answer. My 9-year-old is always like, "Mom, can I have a phone?"
yeah,
No, not
yeah.
happening.
I've been asked a couple times as well. And I will say, I have considered getting like the little, I think it's the track, like just prepaid phone for
Mhm.
emergencies because sometimes my mother-in-law like she will not answer her phone to save her life, and it's like I need to get a hold of someone. So I have thought about getting that, and like it's for emergencies only. It does nothing else but like take calls. But yeah, other than that, no, I
Yeah.
have no intentions at all. Yeah.
See, I have thought about getting a landline just for emergencies only.
Too. I thought
Yeah.
about that too. That was my other thought. I was like, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should
Yep.
go back to days and get a landline.
Yep. Doesn't have all the fancy gadgets on it. That's good enough. Because
Yeah,
we do talk about like, I want to call my friends, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, you can use
right.
my phone. And they don't want to. So, hey,
Yeah,
landline.
yeah, yeah. That might be a great solution.
It was good enough for us. the cord that stretched across the
Right,
kitchen and around the corner.
right.
All right, what is one thing that you have learned to just let go of or been forced to let go of and you've learned to accept it at home or work just to like keep your sanity?
Um, well, at work, I would say, sometimes you know how we talked about processes and how in our role we get to develop processes and help with some things, and sometimes it's getting all departments or certain departments to change to fit the rest, and personalities and things. It's just not always going to be the right time. Maybe it's not the right time, or you just need to work with them a little bit more and help them understand why it's important. So one of the things I have learned to kind of let go is like it has to be done now. You know what I mean? I've learned to be like, we can continue to work on this and do it this way while I have opportunities as they come up to show you why this is important.
Mm.
Um, and so that's something I've learned in my job because I've been forced to. um, in my home, there are times where the house is kind of flipped upside down, and it's like we're just tired, and it's like I have to just sometimes learn to shut it off, and we're just going to sit down and have movie night and just rest. And even though I want to get up and move and do all the things, we're just going to just rest, or play a board game, or even just sit upstairs and, in your bed and talk. So those have been a couple things that I have started to learn over the past 5 years that have taken me a long time to learn. It has not been a fast process at all, but it's been a blessing that I have learned those things, because I think it's just learning that not everything's in your control. You can't control everything. You have to let some things go, and you're human, and you do have to take care of yourself and rest as well. So,
Yes, so true.
yeah.
All right, so let's talk like wisdom, lessons, stuff like that. What do you wish that employers understood better about working moms? What tips would you give them?
Oh my goodness. I would say that working moms need flexibility. Honestly, they need to be able to have the flexibility to be able to work and feel like they're able to do their job, but also to be able to take care of their family and their home as well. I feel like sometimes, um, you know, it's 8 to 5. You got to be here 8 to 5, and I think that can be difficult. I think it can be hard, and I think that moms, they have this responsibility that's outside of the workplace, that in God's eyes is more important than the job. And in it may not be that every mom feels that way right now, but at some point, most moms are going to feel like this job isn't the most important thing in my life. Like
Yeah.
this family is who God gave to me, and that's the most important thing in my life. And I need to be able to have the flexibility to take care of my family in the way that they need to be taken care of. So, honestly, that would be my absolute number one thing, that if employers were to learn anything, is that moms need flexibility. They need flexibility.
Yes. So on the flip side of that, what advice would you give to a mom or even just a woman with aspirations of being a mom one day who is starting her career in accounting?
Well, There are a lot of fun aspects of it. I would say that it can be a lot of fun, especially in the beginning when you're learning. I think learning is the most fun part of accounting. And to me, I guess it's learning anything new. I think just because your mind is just churning and it's just taking in these new things, and you're forcing yourself to just get better at something, and then to learn, to get to this level of achievement and to continue to grow individually within your firm or your business, whatever it is that you're focusing on. But um, just to have a drive, that ambition, um, being able to have a mentor, that is, I didn't have a mentor for a long time. And I will say, when I finally got a mentor, it was huge. It was so huge having someone that I could go to. And even if it was, I have so much going on right now, so I'm going to tell you everything I have going on, and you just tell me what to do. Like, just tell me which one to do first. And honestly, when you're learning and you're growing from the beginning, sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need someone to help you to make those priorities, what's priority and what's not. And maybe that's priority to you, but it's not priority to me.
Yeah.
So, since you're the leader, learning what's priority to you over me, or you understanding why this is priority for me and not for you, and maybe we can come to, the same level of what should be priority. So, having a mentor, communicating with your leadership, I think that was the most important thing, and it, it helped me the most. And I worked with a very, we were both strong-headed individuals, so we bumped heads a lot. And I learned that usually when I had the biggest conflicts was when I was not communicating. It's when I was reading what I thought was happening and not talking about it, instead of going and saying, what's going on? What's the problem? What do we need to do to fix it? And the second that I had the conversation, the issue was resolved because we were able to have open communication and figure out, most of the time there wasn't really a problem. It was just not communicating and not seeing where we were. So I would say, having open communication, with your leadership, and being willing to take their advice and learn from them, having a mentor, that helped me the most, to grow and to learn and to become a leader, as well, because I learned by communicating with them later how to communicate with people under me. And so it just continues. You continue to be able to pass that on. So,
They do say communication is the most important part of a relationship.
yep. And you have those important business relationships.
That's right.
You're with them just as much.
Sometimes more,
Right.
depending on your role and everything else. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, let's end with something fun and to celebrate. What is one mom win that you have had recently that you're proud of?
A mom win. Um, Golly. I don't know. I'd say Alyssa doing the laundry on her own, honestly. That was probably my biggest mom win. I was like, wow, I didn't even tell you. So honestly, that's probably it. Them just taking some, initiative and doing something on their own without being told to. So that was pretty awesome.
That is a pretty big mom win, I would say. Amy, this has been so much fun. Thank
Yeah,
you for being here. I really appreciate it.
thanks for having me.
That is it for today's episode. At CPA Moms, we believe that women can have a successful career and raise a happy family. If you are ready to embrace work-life harmony and connect with like-hearted women, join our CPA Moms Facebook group. Just click the link in the show notes or search CPA Moms on Facebook. We can't wait to welcome you. Until next time, thank you for being here. We see you, we believe in you, and we can't wait to grow with you.